What's up, everybody? It's Killer Nitro from Nitromaniac TV's wrestling channel, and joining me at the other end of the line is the master and curator of the Dungeon of Doom. I mean, the babyface heel blog. It's the mighty Moorhouse. Moorhouse, what's happening?
Just praying for Liverpool not to make the Champions Final. Don't do it.
That's a Champions League soccer reference, and I have no idea about Champions League. So, yeah, go thing that Moorhouse wants. Thumbs up.
It's called football, not soccer. But anyways, I forgive you.
Okay, fair enough. Jeez, wow. Give a guy a wrestling blog and look at him now. Now he's just smart about everything. It's unreal.
Mark.
Smart.
Mark.
Yeah. Anyways, was cruising through Twitter, as I'm often apt to do on any day of the week pretty much last week, and I found a fun little thing that I sent along over to Moorhouse, and we're going to do it tonight in front of you, so, or today, or whenever you're watching it. So it's one of those fun little viral message things that gets transmitted through Twitter that you can copy and paste and just compare with your friends. So I figured I'd share the results with my subscribers, and Moorhouse did it as well. And oh, Moorhouse drinking the Coronas early, I love it.
We don't have sponsorship. It's generic beer.
Oh, it's generic beer. Okay.
Generic beer. Yes. We don't have money. Corona's not paying us. It's generic beer.
Hashtag Cerveza time. I mean, yeah, sure. Cerveza time is fine. It's time. It's Cerveza time. So here it is, another list that Moorhouse and I have filled out. We'll just call this our best and worst via Twitter in wrestling today.
Tweet yourself.
Exactly. All right. So as I open it up, I have it. You're lucky, Moorhouse, because you have the nice deluxe 2-screen computer system, and I've got I've shown what I've got here. I'm just using the old Nitro phone here on the line, where I got everything kind of stored on this because I was stupid. I wrote this on a phone and not on a Word document or something where I could easily look it up. So,
with the power of 2 screens, you can have one with your Word and one with internet, so you can fact check.
Yeah.
One with vintage porn. It's fantastic.
Sounds like you fought this out.
Well, I do work in the computer industry.
There we go. Yes. All right. Cool. Okay, so our opening question, and for the purposes of this video will just be our all-around favorites and other answers to this survey, pretty much. And then we've done a specific WWE one, or specific to WWE one, that we'll do in a separate video. But this is just across the board. So you can take anybody from any fed, with the exception of WWE. How's that?
Oh, crap. I did all New Japan. I'm a fanboy.
It's all good. They're outside of WWE. You're fine. So, all right. So the first question is favorite wrestler. So, Moorhouse, you go ahead. Right now, currently, as you sit on this day, as we record it, who is your favorite wrestler?
This is my favorite wrestler.
Sir Oliver Humperdinck? No, wait.
Oliver Humperdinck is the greatest wrestler ever. All you idiots, you disrespect Humperdinck, you get blown out of the water.
No, I believe...
But seriously,
I
was doing the gesture of one Tetsuya Naito. I'm a huge fan of his. He is just so cool.
He's got that swagger to him right now. That's especially since the beginning of the year. Like, I loved heel Naito a couple of years ago when he won the title off of Okada the first time.
Oh, he hated that title.
Yeah, and he just treated the title like a piece of trash during that run. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm very digging Naito right now too. The match he had with Taichi going back a few weeks ago now, I want to say, well, wasn't that was it Strong Style involved? No, it was before that.
Yeah, it was.
Or no, it was Strong Style involved, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just back check here because we'll have people mad at us.
Well, there are already people mad at me this week if you haven't seen the freaking thing.
It was at the anniversary show.
Oh, it was at the anniversary show. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. But, yeah, the probably one of the coolest spots of the year that I've seen in wrestling was Tai Chi giving the powerbomb to Naito, and Naito selling the going up and the coming down on the powerbomb as if it was like, you know, Wile E. Coyote out in the middle of midair, and he was holding up the help me sign before gravity hit, you know. That was kind of cool. I love that.
Yeah, no, he does incredible moves, and he's just so tranquilo lately. You know, nothing bothers him. He won Gimmick of the Year for a reason.
There we go. Did he legit win Gimmick? Was that Meltzer's list that he won Gimmick of the Year from? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he won Meltzer's list.
Wow, cool. All right. My current favorite wrestler right now that I like to watch, it's got to be Kenny Omega. Just because of the fervor around him right now and the whole the split and of the Bullet Club and who's the leader between Kenny and Cody. I'd actually put Kenny number 1 and Cody number 2 right now if I had to rank them, just due to the fact of that feud and the build going into Supercard. Now what happens after? Because, you know, Cody walked out of Supercard as leader of the Bullet Club. What do we get? What's happening? What's the next step, right? So just the whole amalgamation with Kenny right now and the whole Golden Lover storyline with him and Coda is fascinating. I think it's one of the most entertaining storylines going on in the entirety of professional wrestling. So, and the fact that it also transcends 2 companies is pretty cool too, because it
more than 2 companies.
More than 2.
They're doing Pro Wrestling Guerrilla stuff too.
Oh wow! Wow.
Yeah, because there's a whole Hangman Page and Joey Ryan feud that went from being the Elite to Ring of Honor to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla.
That's right. Yes, exactly. So I had forgotten about that, but there we go. That went into bar wrestling as well, I think, in California. So
yeah. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you remember the CM Punk Chris Hero matches that just feuded all over the country in different territories. They just kept fighting and continuing their feud in different cities and different towns all over the USA.
Yeah, are we talking about the one that like one night in IWA Mid-South, they went 90 minutes, and then the next night they'd go to like Chikara or something and wrestle a 30-minute match? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's very similar to that.
Okay, yeah, I remember that because tape trading. Yay. Woo! Tape trading was fun. So the second question is wrestler I think that's overrated. So I guess the most overrated wrestler in your opinion?
My opinion?
Yeah, your opinion.
My opinion is Switchblade, Jay White.
Wow, okay. Now, is that because if you flip back on the channel and going into like the Nitros take of Wrestle Kingdom 12, I had stated that it's a cool looking character, but it needs more definition to it. Is that one of the contributing factors?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think he has the coolest theme song, or one of the coolest theme songs, but there's nothing about him yet. And he has a title for no reason, and he's being pushed to the moon with no real gimmick other than he does a little, switchblade motion with his hand.
I think it's coming, but yeah, like it's a character that's kind of in its embryonic stages right now still, and the fact that they got a major belt on him at this point in time is like, well, okay, it's great, but it's one of those things where if he was in NXT, they'd probably wait a couple takeovers before he got a crack at like the NXT, title.
Yeah.
He'd be.
But here it was his third match.
Yeah, he's at NXT North American title status right now, taking nothing away from Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era, but the fact that Adam Cole is the North American champion, almost called the U.S. champion, over there is just so that Undisputed Era group looks more legitimate because they own 3/4 of the belts. If they had a female in the group, the female in the group would probably have the NXT women's belt right now if they got Baszler or something like that, or recruited Baszler. But kind of along the same lines. I was just using that as an example. Yeah. But yeah.
No, I agree. And one of Triple H's sayings is the belt doesn't make the man makes the belt.
Okay.
I think they're trying to do the belt makes the man here.
Okay. Yeah, but That's also weird too because that belt is less than a year old. Like it'll be one
But
year old this July 4th.
it's not an old belt, but it was on the top guy who wasn't the world heavyweight champion there.
Good point. Yeah, it had a legit contender for a while, or legit champion, I should say. And it's also had some legit opponents too, I should say. With it.
Exactly. It would be like, for example, Bret Hart holding the Intercontinental title and then dropping it to Dean Douglas. Or the Mountie. Hey, that did happen.
That did happen, yeah. Exactly. Syracuse, 1992. Google it. It was days before the Royal Rumble, so there we go. So the wrestler I think that's overrated, Moorhouse, and this is just because Impact Wrestling just had their first pay-per-view of the year earlier this week as we record this. I still don't get what the buzz is with Eli Drake, and so and people are just, not only are they, gobbling him up, but he has a passionate fan base. I found that out firsthand after posting the review of or my Nitro stake of the review, I should say, and of the show, and man, I still don't get it. Like, he's a stud athlete, but he looks like he's about 10 years an athlete from 10 years ago. Like, he would be the guy that WWE would grab 10 years ago and immediately throw on SmackDown to feud with John Cena.
You mean the SmackDown Superstar Initiative?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay, yeah. That was a Teddy Long thing, wasn't it? I believe so.
The angle was Teddy Long, that they brought in the network guy, and then he's just like, we're going to bring all this talent. Who turned out to be just Florida wrestlers who aren't getting over.
Palmer Cannon, I remember him now. He was the guy that ran out of the company by JBL. So,
yep.
Yeah, there we go. But anyway, getting back to Eli Drake, I know he's holding their Feast or Fired, kind of their equivalent of the Money in the Bank right now for a world title shot whenever he wants. And so, spoiler alert, as earlier this week, as after Pentagon Jr. won the belt at the pay-per-view, Austin Aries came back and won it back. So now Austin Aries is a champion. You would think it's probably a matter of time that Eli Drake would get the Impact title shot, and they'll probably run with him for a bit as a champion because he's got Scott Steiner now as a tag team champion that he's alongside with, and he might be a decent move having an experienced, let's face it, Wrestling Hall of Famer in Scott Steiner right alongside with Eli Drake, but I still don't get the gimmick. It's just dummy, yeah. It's no. We're not dummies. He's doing his job. Like I said in the review, then he must be doing his job because I can't stand him and I hate watching him. But I think he's the most overrated talent that there is out there right now. And it's just like, okay, so and the fans out there, okay, so you're going nuts over a guy that was and resembles a wrestler from 10 years ago, but it's 2018. You got the Shinsuke Nakamura's and the name them, Johnny Gargano's and etc. of the world that are doing big things. Heck, even Switchblade Jay White to a point that are doing the that's into like the strong style type stuff, and that's the thing that's in. And yet this guy is kind of championing the cause over on Impact, or one of the top echelon guys. But they've shored up their talent roster a little bit more. Moorhouse,
yeah.
It looks a little bit better than it was, even 6 months ago. So, and they got actually people that are running it that are, I guess wrestling people. They're decent wrestling people too. So,
it's they're starting to. It's going to take a slow recovery, but they're starting to make strides. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Eli Drake was probably, hey, you're still here, I guess, and everyone else is gone, so here's a belt.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, Eli Drake is my choice for that question. So the next question is wrestler I think is underrated. So Moorhouse, who's your underdog? Who's the guy that you'd like to see more of, but for whatever reason they're just not giving it to us?
I guess I put underrated as not getting opportunities. He is getting TV appearances and he is being pushed, but he's not pushed to the top. And he could actually leave a certain company and become a megastar somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to pick Moose.
Moose, okay.
Yeah. Moose, I believe, has a Vince look.
Oh.
A Vince body.
Yes.
Yet, for some reason, he's keeping to Impact's commitments.
A Vince.
And TNA or Impact Wrestling could be pushing Moose to the roof and treating him like a Hogan, but they haven't yet.
A Vince pedigree as well, too. I mean, like, you put him in on even like an NXT, as it stands right now. The guy played in the NFL. He played with actual decent teams in the NFL as well. Mm-hmm. Who wouldn't, want this guy on your roster? I mean, and he can move for a big man. He's been put in some very questionable booking feuds and that stuff and storylines, I should say, over on Impact Wrestling. But the deal with Impact, of course, was always fluxing and changing, and you didn't know who was doing what. And so it's kind of like, teams that change their head coach once in a while, or not once in a while, but every season. I think we're
Oilers.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we're a little bit familiar with that in our neck of the woods here. But there's no chance to build consistency at all with, who's driving the booker ship, So he would definitely benefit. And he was over when Ring of Honor did that New Japan, their yearly pilgrimage a few years ago. I think it was 2016 over to New Japan.
Yeah, they do the best of the world tours. Yeah.
Yeah, and that one show at the Korakuen, the Japanese fans just love watching the dude. So,
he has it, but Impact's not yet, at least, pushing him to carry the company.
Yeah, that's a great choice, man. Blows my choice out of the water.
Oh no!
Because I feel that the wrestler that I think is horribly underrated is Adam Page of Ring of Honor. And it's just because the dude can move around the ring, and I love watching old Stan Hansen and, heck, even Bradshaw matches and that stuff from, their early parts of their career, and Hansen, of course, when he was in All Japan and, just a god over there. So Page can run around the ring and do the same type of movesets, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the kid busts out a moonsault. I mean, it's like a dude that big, and it's the same deal like with a Moose. A dude that big shouldn't be able to pull off high spots like he can with relative ease, but he can do it with relative ease. So, yeah, Adam Page gets my vote.
Page, ever since he kind of joined the Elite, he's finally getting noticed. But before that, for years, he was just toiling in the mid-card in Ring of Honor with no real gimmick.
No, I think they brought him in as, I want to say he was with Kevin, like when he first debuted in Ring of Honor, it was like with Kevin Steen and Steve Corino and that group. I could even be wrong with that lineup, but it was like early 2014. Yeah, and he was like running around. I think him and Steve Corino's kid were,
they had a feud.
Yeah, or they had a feud. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the feud was he befriended Steve's kid and then made him into a heel, which Steve didn't like, which is weird because Steve's also a heel. But right. I guess you can't be more heel than a heel.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense there. So, but since joining the Bullet Club, man, this guy is just elevated to the top level and that stuff. And just the matches he's had this year alone have really, really impressed me. Like, really impressed me.
And he showed a funny side.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that whole
his whole
thing.
Detective on Joey Ryan's suplex, that's hilarious.
Yeah. The U-pornplex, yes, exactly. Yeah. So. But yeah, so Adam Page gets my vote for that category.
I'm going to take over here, Kellen.
Go for it.
The next category is wrestlers I hate, and there's no bigger of a wrestler I hate right now than Alberto Del Rio, Alberto Del Parton. Everything he's done has been negative to everyone he's been around. He's missed out on a big Impact pay-per-view taping, even though he was there that day, and he did a press conference that day. He no-showed and said family reasons, which is weird. He's hurt Paige's personal life and career, sabotaging a good year and a half with bad influences, demons, and just being a terrible boyfriend for her. He's badmouthed the industry. He's badmouthed Triple H. He's badmouthed everywhere he's worked. He's left Triple H on bad terms. He went back, left again on bad terms, and now I guess he's going back again. I guess everyone keeps giving him chances, but really, why?
The thing is that he was cast last year in a very unique opportunity. He was getting a second chance at the helm of a company that was given like its fifth or sixth or seventh chance. How many times that Impact's been, resuscitated, I should say, over the years. But, the guy doesn't get it. I don't think he gets it. Because, that's the thing is that, the first time he got dumped out of WWE, we felt for him. Because, okay, it wasn't his fault. And, by all accounts, it was, racist writers that were making racial slurs at him and that stuff. And, that's fine. I don't want to say that's admirable, but that's a legit reason for having a an issue with a company and that stuff, right? But all the time since that, he's just burned companies and such, and on and on and on. I mean, like, I hope the dude gets the help that he needs, but he's such a plight to the business right now that it's just unreal.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues that he needs to solve, and I hope he does. I'm not a big fan of his work. I've never been a big Alberto fan, but, I imagine he could be a nice guy once he clears his head and gets rid of his demons.
We're going to have a unanimous choice here, too, because I'm just scratching out my choice now, and I'm going to go with yours because, I had an individual down, but I'm like, you know what? This person did not commit near as much stuff as this guy is. Like, this guy is just hands down right now, probably, and that's the thing is that I was rooting for him last year. And because Slammiversary last year was such a unique card and such a fun pay-per-view to watch. And then, going into Bound for Glory, and he's not even in the main event, but yet he makes it all about him, and there's rumors that he's not even showing up to cards and that stuff. And then, has like their biggest card of the year at WrestleCon in New Orleans and doesn't show up for that when he's a star on both shows, by the way. People seem to forget that he was a star for Lucha Underground before he jumped over to Impact. So,
and he showed up for the press conference a few hours before.
That's the thing. He was at the presser.
Yeah.
Like, and then he just... they showed it in the free-for-all this past weekend, just prior to the pay-per-view starting now. So the dude was at the presser. The dude was cutting promos about the pay-per-view main event he was having in 2 or 3 weeks on his way to the car that was supposedly taking him away from the building so he could take the knife and just put it in Impact's back. I mean, I feel sorry for D'Amore and Callis and everybody else, because here they are trying to bank their or hitch their wagons to this guy because Lashley's gone back to WWE, EC3's gone back to WWE, so there's 2 guys there that were in your main event picture a year ago that aren't there anymore. The Hardys have gone back to WWE, so there's another 2 more. So there was the perfect opportunity for the guy.
And he choked it, and I don't know. I don't know the reasons why. I don't know what happened backstage, but all I know is you don't miss a booking, especially you don't miss a booking where you're trying to impress the Lucha management to be like, hey, you know what, we can have a partnership.
It's unreal. And like I said, I hope he gets the help he needs, but Yeah, he's the most hated dude, I think, in any Fed right now. On any fan's mind, because you know that if he's booked on a card, chances are he's probably not going to show up. So,
no, you better roll a dice. It's a better game, and it's cheaper too.
Roll a dice booking. Oh my goodness!
Actually, here I will come to your company's Fed, and I will go in the ring and I'll roll a dice, and that will be the booking, and it will be a better booking than that. Alberto Del Parton coming to your company.
Oh, good lord. It's the Chikara Tag World Grand Prix mystery partner mystery hat all over again.
Oh, is it going to be the Invisible Man interfering?
No, it was... And it's a long story, but back at the first few Chikara World Tag Grand Prix that they had wrestlers that were booked that they'd bring in mystery partners from either their school or, it was like, in one case, like the Necro Butcher and a CM... in CP Monk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just a terrible CM Punk gimmick.
Yeah, but you take the head off and it's Deathmatch legend and Necro Butcher, and it's right. So it was just that, but that's how they did it. It was the mystery hat. So like the ring out, the participant would get to the ring. So case in point, wrestler would get to the ring, announce that he doesn't have a partner for this match. The other team would already be there. So, all right, pull out the mystery hat. Your partner is Marty Jannetty. Marty Jannetty. They play his music. He doesn't walk out. All right, toss the piece of paper, pull another one. Yeah.
That's terrible.
It was funny the first time they did it, but then the fact that they were advertising a 32-team tournament, they had to do it about 3 or 4 times. It's not as funny after that. So,
if you want to hear better opinions about Chikara, check out Jim Cornette's podcast. He'll tell you all about his thoughts on Chikara.
See, I love Chikara, and Jim just is not a fan of Chikara.
He absolutely hates it, yeah.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Chikara because
it's comedy goofy wrestling.
All right, the next question on the list is wrestler I secretly love. Yes, this is the guilty pleasure. This is the equivalent of having Spice Girls on your MP3 list. Or playlist.
I have Spice Girls on my MP3 list. Thank you very much.
On your Spotify.
We don't have sponsorship with Spotify. We cannot discuss Spotify.
Okay, or whatever your streaming audio is.
Generic music stream service.
Exactly. So, this is an interesting one here. Wrestlers I secretly love. The reason why it's interesting because it took me so many times to fill in an answer for this one that when we came to air tonight with this, I left it blank because I put like 4 or 5 in there that is that I could probably use as a guilty pleasure. But I guess I'll list the first one, and I didn't like him when I seen him in Impact over the last calendar year or so, but watching his independent stuff, especially some of the entrances he's done over in the UK and everything, I gotta say Grado is my guilty pleasure right now. Just because I found a gold mine of all his independent stuff.
Yeah.
That's posted on YouTube and everything, and just was binge watching that one night. And just, the Madonna Like a Prayer as entrance music, and when he was doing the Goldberg knockoff as an entrance at one card, and various other things, and the whole encounter he had at another one with Billy Gunn. I think there was like a Rumble match going on that Billy Gunn and Hardcore Holly were like the 2 guys left in the ring, and then all of a sudden Billy's Ass Band music hits, and Grado walks out with a pair of Billy's trunks and just doing all the Mr. Ass mannerisms and that stuff, and you just see Billy just standing in the ring like, dude, what the hell are you doing? So I just love wrestler I secretly love with Grado. I just love watching him just because it's, I don't want to say it's the Weird Al of professional wrestling, but it's like kind of just more of a who's this? I guess no, because Colt Cabana always says he's the Dave Coulier of pro wrestling, so I better not use that analogy. It's like watching a what insane comedian just do a ballistic set on stage. That's watching a match. Yeah,
the Norm Macdonald of wrestling.
That's sure, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not familiar with Grado, so I can't really disagree or agree with you.
Okay.
But I like your choice, and I just Googled him, and he looks like an interesting fella.
Google some of his, after we're done tonight, YouTube some of his entrances and that stuff. You'll get a kick out of it. He's a funny dude. He's a really funny dude.
No, I do like comedy wrestling. Yeah, like some comedy wrestling, not all comedy wrestling. But I digress.
You're not a fan of Chuck E. T. and the hand grenade spot?
I'm not a Lost ice cream fans. No.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, I digress. I was gonna pick Tano Yaro from New Japan, but I had second thoughts.
Ooh.
Because people probably knew I already kind of like him. So I'm going to go with the Beer City Bruiser from Ring of Honor.
That's off the board. Okay.
It is off the board.
That's off the board. Care to elaborate?
I'm choosing the Beer City Bruiser. I'm going off the board, but I love his gimmick. I love his character, and I love his style. He wrestles a very smash mouth bruiser style. And then he just has a hilarious gimmick where he's just a big giant drunk guy.
He's basically the modern incarnation of AWA's The Crusher.
Exactly.
Yep.
He's a throwback to 70s wrestling. And he's him and Silas Young are a great combo together. They're just I think I just saw him this year for the first time. I just started watching Ring of Honor, and most of his stuff that I've seen I've actually enjoyed. And he's getting over. Like, he came to Japan for a tour, and even the Japanese fans thought he was great.
And apparently his beer is on sale in different Milwaukee establishments and that stuff. So he does have a microbrew. That is a legit beer that he is drinking, and you can buy it, I guess, in Milwaukee. So
there you go. So reasons to travel to Milwaukee, number 7.
Number 1 through 5 being the Harley Davidson plant. That's pretty much it. At least I think that's where it is. Yeah, they're made in Milwaukee. Yeah, that's right. So,
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I'm going with Beer City. Sorry, Taro, or I'm going with Beer City Bruiser.
All right, so the next one is kind of a similar question, but I'm going to open up the parameters to it just to change things up and, make the choices a little bit easier for us. The next option is guilty pleasure in wrestling right now. And so it can be a wrestler, Moorhouse, it can be a promotion, it can be a certain match, it can be a television show. What's your guilty pleasure?
The Elite. The Elite is my guilty pleasure. I can't miss an episode. I am following everyone's Twitter. I am like a 13-year-old schoolgirl reading J13. That's how obsessed I am with this whole angle. It is a totally guilty pleasure, and I almost cried during the last episode.
Is Moorhouse all in?
No, I can't afford the plane ticket.
Okay, yeah. It's expensive to fly from Western Canada to Chicago. It's pricey, surprisingly pricey.
I looked into it. I hope they stream it. I will definitely subscribe to the stream if they do it. But
definitely, yeah.
No announcements have been made there. It's all organized by Cody, and they're doing a great job of promoting it. This event will probably be the second or third largest non-WWE event of the year.
And that's the thing. I expect Moorhouse a little bit later on this year. We're going to get an announcement with All In. As soon as they announce that they're sold out for that weekend on a stream or maybe even an iPay-per-view, or it would really knock the socks off of everybody if they could get pay-per-view clearance, like traditional pay-per-view clearance across the board for that thing. But man, like hearing rumblings even too that Hot Topic might be a presenting sponsor for this as well, and just on and on and on. They've got themselves. They can't screw up with this setup right now. They're licensed to print money, and the Elite is hot. And whether they remain the Elite as we know them, or there's a new version of the Elite, or what have you. Or maybe the Elite just kind of branches off on its own and is its own thing. You know?
You don't know. Yeah,
never
it
know.
could be the Elite Hollywood and Elite Wolfpack and Latino Elite and the Blue Elite Order.
I think we named all of them there. That's pretty much it.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty
Oh,
much.
and Elite 2000.
Oh, yes. Exactly. With an aging Sonny no, just walking down with goalie masks. Gosh. So, my guilty pleasure, Moorhouse, is an entire promotion. So I'm going to, I'll take the entire, I guess.
Can I guess?
End of this. You know, we mentioned them earlier, so.
Can I guess your guilty pleasure?
Go for it. Yes.
It's going to be the organization known as Shimmer.
Ooh, good choice, but I wouldn't consider them a guilty pleasure. That's the thing.
Okay.
I consider them a mainstream more than anything else right now, because of the whole, I guess, revival in women's wrestling over the past few years and that stuff. So, but yes, I do heart Shimmer. I've been to 2 of their live events in the past. They're amazing, but no, they're not my guilty pleasure. My guilty pleasure still remains to this day Chikara as a promotion. I think it's just fun. If you watch a Chikara show from front to back, you can't help but laugh. If you watch even a Chikara match on YouTube, or even some of the spots in the past, really some of the greats, the late great Larry Sweeney being one, you know, the awesomeness, the junior heavyweight mastery of people like Skida and Mike Quackenbush from that era, mid 2000s-ish era, even now as well. Chucky T and even the dreaded invisible hand grenade spot that everybody, you know, dogs on Cornette's podcast and his network and everything. I can't stop watching it from time to time. It pops. I pop one in when I'm feeling down, and you know, I feel right back up again. So you know, it gives me good vibrations, I guess.
I will admit, I do watch the King of Trios when I can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of that. It's a great tournament. So I am a fan. I know of Chikara. I'm not a super fan, and I do think some of it's annoying. But also, right now, one of the hottest stars was a Chikara star, and that's Johnny Gargano.
That's right. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, for sure. And AJ Styles vehemently hates their ropes because he hates lucha ropes. That's a Chikara clip from a few years ago. From one of the King of Trios weekends, I want to say back in 2014 when they booked in the Bullet Club, and it was the Bucks and AJ. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won the tournament, I think.
Yeah, but he had issues with the ropes all weekend on that ring.
So he was just mad.
He's trying to, one spot, he's trying to do the flying forearm on, I want to say it was the Ant Colony, but I can't remember exactly who it was. But it's on YouTube, you can see it. And he goes up for the flying forearm and just biffs it. Just goes face first right into the, and you see, you know how cats sometimes when they flop out on the floor and that stuff, their spine kind of goes from like this to like that. Well, that's what his spine did when he went face first into the mat. He kind of just hewed when he hit. Oh, no. He comes up, he jumps right back up on his feet and starts kicking the ropes. And then the same thing happens the next night. And you just hear him yell out, "I hate lucha ropes!" It's at the top of his lungs. Crowd pops, huge standing ovation, you name it. So that's one of the many reasons why Chikara is fun to watch, you know, and it's a guilty pleasure of mine. So
it was AJ Styles' rage when he loses out in Madden anger.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a great analogy. Yep, a little up, down, down style.
Angry AJ. Yeah. If you ever want to watch another funny AJ video, watch him versus Rusev in a Madden game. That is hilarious.
Oh yes.
Rusev just pisses him off the entire game. Tongo Po.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or Roman Reigns, because he stole Roman Reigns' name.
All right, favorite wrestler ever, Mr. Moorhouse. This is a tough question. Who is your favorite wrestler ever that's not in WWE?
Not in WWE? Well, not in WWE, favorite wrestler ever. Can it count WCW?
Sure.
My favorite wrestler ever is Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
There you go. Wow, really?
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't take you as a Hollywood Hulk Hogan fan. All right.
I grew up as a Hulkamaniac, and the more I view it, like, he was probably the greatest heel WCW's ever had, because he was a WWE guy, he was a Northern guy, and he was promoting Hollywood in the South. Those are all negatives.
Exactly.
So he drew heat from the WCW faithful. He did grow some of the the rebel teenage fans, but man, that character was over.
Oh gosh, was it ever? That whole run, the NWO run and everything, was over. It was big time over for sure.
And then we see the Elite doing the NWO gimmicks.
Oh.
And they're still over today.
And not just the Elite now too. The Undisputed Era over in NXT is starting to do the belt walk with the air guitar and that stuff. That's Kyle O'Reilly's thing now, and so on and so forth. And so many UFC fighters have done it in the past too when they've walked out too, to kind of do the air guitar to their song and whatever, right? So
I thought UFC fighters just throw rocks at buses
or tables and wipe out half their card.
Yeah.
To me, that makes zero sense. Why would you? Frick, he had the world behind him last year when he fought Mayweather, and yet the idiot just goes out back and just trashes the entire. I don't get it.
But people are going to pay to see his next fight because now he has heel heat.
Yeah, he does, but it's just. To me, it seems like it's the wrong type of heat. That's the wrong way to get heat too. It's just okay. That's great if you're just inflicting harm to yourself, but don't inflict harm to others, especially other people who are on the undercard of the frickin' matches, who are on the undercard of the frickin' pay-per-view that you're supposed to be headlining.
I think he injured a female fighter too on that.
He took out an entire match.
Yeah.
One match got wiped out. The guy was Kane from 1998.
Oh boy. We could do a whole rant on your Conor McGregor.
You know what? I dug him last year, but after that's done, it's just like, oh, come on, man.
Now here's the question: who do you hate more, Del Rio or McGregor?
Ooh, that's tough. Well, I have to say Del Rio, though, because of the amount of times that Impact has given him, the golden opportunity, and yet he's squandered it each and every time. So, yeah, I'd Del Rio for sure, but McGregor, with Conor, I think it's just it's the equivalency of a cat bringing in a mouse into the back porch and freaking the hell out of you and that stuff. It's like, look at me, I can do attention getting things and tactics, but with Del Rio, it's, I'm a star, I'm a big star, I'm an ex-WWE guy.
I was the champion. I beat CM Punk.
Yeah, exactly. He here's the thing too, is he also was an opening match Royal Rumble winner for WrestleMania the year in.
Loser.
That's right.
He lost because Edge retired the next night.
That's right, with the belt, but yeah. So there we go. All right. Who
is your favorite wrestler, Kellen?
Favorite wrestler ever, man. You know what? I've always had a soft spot for Jushin Thunder Liger, and I think it just goes back to him being a Stampede alumnus way back when he was Kichi Yamada, and the great matches with Owen Hart and Benoit and that stuff in Stampede, and then going over to Japan under the Liger gimmick, and then that's always the first character I had to make in creative wrestling.
How accurate were they?
They got pretty damn accurate after a while because they loaded in the Liger template after, I want to say, SmackDown vs. Raw 2004. And then, carrying forward, they were very damn accurate, even to this day, which now you can just go into Community Creations off of any 2K game and just download a moveset perfect Jushin Liger, right? But
but back in the day, we had to work for our created wrestlers.
Remember going to cause.ws and grabbing the screen grab of the formula to make a Brian Pillman, and then if you were like 0.1 of a decimal point off, his nose was like on the entire wrong side of his body and that stuff, and didn't render
And
out
then
correctly.
And then you can't convert them to next game. And the other thing is when you're like, oh my god, I created DDP in like this No Mercy game.
Yeah.
Come guys, come see this DDP. And they're like, doesn't look anything like DDP.
No. Why does DDP's tattoos look like
Undertaker's?
Yeah, Undertaker's tattoos. What's going on? Yeah, no, but you know, all the memories with that, and then also seeing him wrestle, you know, the greats from the 80s, 90s, and then even this year, the matches he's had with Will Ospreay, and you know, you can go on and on and on, and Kushida in the past, you know, calendar year or so, and just man, the dude is.
And there's the other thing with Liger too, that he is still training young lions. He lives in the young lion den.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, he's giving back now at this point, too, and everything. Mm-hmm. Like, he might be one of the last great practitioners of kayfabe as well, because apparently when he's there, you don't see him without his mask at all.
Really?
Yeah, he's got, like, a short kind of, you know, streamlined version of the mask that he'll wear out in public that's not as gaudy, but, you know, he's still masked. And it's like, oh, hey, here's Liger. Sup, buddy? And then Liger's like, hey, what's going on, you know? So
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you know, think about the opponents he's faced throughout the years. Let's take it from the 80s when the character was in development and created. You know, Owen Hart, Chris Benoit, right there. They're two. You know, one, of course, the legacy of Benoit is forever tainted, but Owen Hart should be in any wrestling Hall of Fame. You know, across the planet. You go into the 1990s. Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Rey Mysterio, Ultimo Dragon, Ric Flair, you know, on and on and on. You go into the 2000s and Samoa Joe, CM Punk,
Daniels,
Christopher Daniels, on and on and on. And then, you know, in the 2010s, Will Ospreay, Kushida, man, who else has that record?
I can't name, maybe Flair, but again, that's legacy.
Flair's up there.
Yeah,
Flair's up there. He's in my top 5, but right now it's got to be Liger. This is just got to be so. But anyway, this was fun, Moorhouse. Thanks again for sitting in with me and doing this.
No problemo.
Cool. I'm Kellen Nitro. You can follow me on Twitter at Kellen Nitro, and you can follow Mr. Moorhouse at his brand spanking new Twitter account, One Babyface Heel.
Yep, everything's coming together. There'll be a website blog launching very, very soon.
Ooh, you're getting internetical. I like it.
Yep.
Right on.
I'm entering AOL online, so make sure you subscribe.
Nice. Right on. Well, it's always great to talk wrestling with you, Moorhouse. We're going to do it again sometime soon here on the channel. I'm Kellen Nitro. We'll talk to you next time. Happy wrestling watching, and see ya. Later days. Okay, cool.
Good job, Mark Calloway.